There is a supernatural world that surrounds us, and sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. You'll hear stories about this and so much more right here on Supernatural Confrontations. Our story today has to do with something that Ken encountered when he was living with his parents. And I just love this because it's sort of like UFO brain fog in some respects. So we'll get into that and so much more. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor, Noble Gold. Before I let you go, gold is like up to $1,870 this morning, $1,870. So it's definitely on the move upwards. You might want to check that out. Go to LAMarzulliNobleGold.com, LAMarzulliNobleGold.com. Check it out or call the number down below. I'm pretty sure that John Adams still has that. And we'll get to the interview on the other side of the break. Gold prices could surge to $4,000 an ounce in 2023. And Noble Gold Investments has all the details. As recession fears persist, Jurie Keener, Chief Investment Officer of investment company Swiss Asia Capital, said that many economies could face a little bit of a recession in the first quarter, which would lead to many central banks slowing their pace of interest rate hikes and make gold instantly more attractive. If 2022 taught us anything, it is that tangible, hard assets are the only assets you can count on, like gold. Folks, what are you waiting for? Thousands of people have started making a move toward a secure retirement. Join them by opening a gold IRA or silver IRA with Noble Gold Investments. If you get in before the end of this month, January, you'll bag an incredibly free quarter-ounce American Gold Eagle coin with every qualified IRA of 50 grand. Folks, you can't go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. We've invested a portion of our portfolio in Noble Gold. We bought in at 1642. It is now up to 1832. Give you an idea of where we are. Pretty amazing. Go to LAMarzulliGold.com. That's LAMarzulliGold.com or 877-646-5347. Tell them that you heard it here on Supernatural Confrontations with your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Once again, that's LAMarzulliGold.com. So here's Ken's story, and I'll weigh in on it on the other side. Ken, thanks so much for coming on the record with Supernatural Confrontation. So you had a UFO experience. Tell us about that.
Okay. It was back in I don't really remember the year. It was either the late 60s or the early 70s. And I, at the time, I was in my parents' home. We lived in a little town called Grimsby in Ontario, Canada. And we lived on top the Niagara Escarpment, and on a cool winter night when the sky was clear, you could look down the end of our property. You could actually see over top the trees, and of course wintertime there's no leaves on the trees, and you could see on a clear night across Lake Ontario. You could see Toronto, and
that's a great view.
Oh yeah, it is. It is
a great view. Wow.
Yeah, and we pulled in the driveway, got out of the car, just me, my dad, and my mom. Walked down the sidewalk to the back porch and got up on the back porch, and pretty sure it was my mom who said, "Hey, look at that." So we all turned and looked. She was pointing towards the lake, and we're probably at this point from the shore, from our side of the lake, we're at least 15 miles away from the shore.
15 or 50?
15, 1-5.
Okay, got it.
That far. Toronto's another probably 25 miles past that on the other shore.
Right.
And we're looking out, and there's all these red lights, and they're flying along, and then they go, and then they fly. And there's about 30 of them, 20 to 30 of these things. They're hanging around a certain section over top the lake, and they're just they're not flying in any kind of a formation. They're just up and down and around. And I never thought of this until I was talking with your manager on social media there. And I thought, you know what? We stood there. None of us said a word.
Huh.
We stood there and we watched these lights. I was early teens, you know, maybe I wasn't even a teenager. Maybe it was 12 or something like that. And we looked at all this for a good 5 minutes, and then we went, oh well, in the house we go. Not a word was said. We didn't say a thing about it. We just went back in the house and went, you know, probably went and watched TV and thought nothing of it. And I thought about it just the other day and thought, you know, Dad was a World War II veteran. That dude was not afraid of nothing. And he just went, oh well, went in the house. So I thought, you know, Dad should have picked up the phone and called the cops or something, but he didn't. So I'm wondering now, after watching all your shows, could they do a brain fog thing from like 30 miles away? Maybe.
That's usually, you know, from what I know, that's a little too far away
Yeah.
to really, they got to be closer than that, in my opinion.
Okay.
Everyone who, you know, they're very, very close proximity. 30
Yeah.
miles away, that's a long distance away. But let me ask you some questions. You talk about, so this is definitely before drones were invented.
Oh yes.
So it's not drones, it's not Chinese lanterns. So something's going like this, and then it blinks out, and then it appears at another level down here.
They didn't even blink out. You could see them go or up or down vertical very fast. And then, you know, ones over here would blast over here, but you could see them go. You know, they didn't disappear and then show up over here.
So they're hovering, and all of a sudden, zip, they're over
Yep.
here, that
Yep.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Were there any other colors besides the red?
No, just red.
Just
But
red.
there was a lot of them. So, you know, but yeah, we
Would you say that they were over the lake? They were over the lake?
they were definitely over the water.
Didn't
Definitely
hear
over the-
anything, right? Any
Didn't hear a
sound?
thing. No. And it was a crystal clear night. I mean, I spent years there. A cold winter night, you don't hear anything.
Right.
It's out in the country, and yeah, very, very quiet. So if it was a helicopter over the water, you would have heard it, I believe.
Did any of your family, your mom or your dad, did they ever talk about it again, or was that
No.
the drop?
No, never. And my mom's still with us. She's 96, and I called her today. I said, "Hey, Mom, you remember this story?" She goes, "No, I don't remember that." So yeah, so interesting.
Wow. You know, that's it's just amazes me at how this cat and mouse game, I mean, you know, this is what, 30, 40 years ago for you, roughly?
Oh, easy,
Longer?
easy, probably 50.
Okay, so it's 50 years ago, and we see this cat and mouse game. In fact, I'm editing our film on crop circles, and Francisco Carrera and Hugh Newman and myself were in this crop circle museum in Wiltshire, in England,
Mhm.
2019. And we're talking about this whole cat and mouse game, which has gone on for decades. And Francisco is the one that brings it up, that really nothing has changed in all these years. It's the same thing. Discs, you know, I mean, the best UFO footage I've ever seen has been the Kumburgaz UFO,
Yes,
which
amazing.
Roger Lear took. I mean, that's a whole different deal. But, you know, it's amazing how this cat and mouse game, something goes on, and then you guys see something which defies your rational mind.
Yeah,
In some ways, it's UFO brain fog. You know, you look at it and there's nothing in your dad, in any of you, and your grid system to process the information. So you kind of go, well, oh, well, let's go watch some TV.
yeah,
You know, right? I mean, it's just, yeah, that's bizarre.
yeah.
Now, you didn't have any missing time that you were aware of, right?
No,
Like that.
no, don't remember anything like that at all.
All right.
No, no.
I'll give you the last.
I remember
word.
going in the house. You know, I don't remember where we were out. Probably relatives of friends. I don't remember. It was probably 7, 8 o'clock at night. I don't know if it was a weekend or a weeknight. I don't remember, but I do remember pulling in the driveway, getting out of the car, walking on the sidewalk, getting on the back porch, and Mom going, "Hey, look at that."
What was the shape of the objects?
They were round lights. We didn't see the object. They were too far away, but
Right.
the lights were round and they were all red.
And there were about 30 of them.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Did they ever go into any type of a formation?
No, there was no formation. They were all kind of independent of each other. It looked to me like they were playing a game.
Yeah. Did any of them go into the water?
No.
How did they leave the scene? Or did you guys just go back?
They were still buzzing around out over the lake when we turned and went in the house. Like dad goes, "Okay, let's go in." "Oh, all right. You're the leader of the family. We're going in." And I'm thinking this guy's a World War II vet. He left the planet in 95. Dude was never afraid of anything. So if Dad looks out over the water and sees these lights moving around that none of us could explain, and he says, "Yeah, let's go inside." Well, I'm thinking, okay, well, I trust him then. It can't be that crazy. Let's go in the house. So, yeah.
Well, Ken, thanks so much for coming on the record. It's that's why we have this platform, because people have stories, and these stories need to be told. UFOs are certainly real, burgeoning, not going away.
Absolutely.
And our own government now here in the States, has admitted that
Yes.
UFOs are real. But thanks so much for coming on the record. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
It just amazes me how, rational people look at something, they know it's not normal, and they watch it, they experience it, and then they just forget about it. I think one of my favorites is in the very first UFO film that we did, UFO Disclosure. And if you haven't seen that yet, go to our streaming site, streaming.lamarzulli.net, or better yet, you can buy all 4 of them and get a discount and actually have the DVDs, invite friends over. But there's a gentleman who comes on the record, and he's driving across Kansas, and his brother's asleep in the back, and way in the distance, he sees something like a sun, but it's not the sun, because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. All of a sudden, this thing it flies literally from miles away, and it's right next to the car. It's this big, huge orange ball, and it paces the car like this for 30 seconds or something. They all look at it. His brother wakes up from the back seat. They're all looking at it together. Then the orb leaves, and then the guy goes, "After the orb left, we just concentrated on driving." That's UFO brain fog. Here's another one from the same film, by the way. So this woman, they're going to do a dance, and I guess a number of girls are living in a foster home, okay? So they pick up the girls in the foster home. They all go to the dance. There's like 8 or 9 girls in the station wagon. They're all packed in, and on the way home, they go, "Wow, what's that?" And someone says, "Oh, it's probably a truck mud running." So they pull over, and they realize it's not a truck mud running up in the woods. This thing is above the tree line, and it's a UFO. They all get freaked out. They go running into the car, and the woman says to her sister who was driving, "Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's get out of here." And then she says, "We were speeding, but we weren't going anywhere." That's UFO brain fog. So when they arrive back at the foster mother's home, the foster mother is irate. They're 3 hours late. That's missing time accompanied by UFO brain fog. It's real. It's real. And we've heard this over and over and over again from people that have close encounters. Think about it, folks. What are you waiting for? All 4, we got them all packaged. By the way, we were on Daystar with Prophecy Watchers. Gary Stearman and I did a great interview, and Bob Ulrich shot me an email. He said, we've got the best response they've ever had out of all their programs in Daystar. So that's a real plus. By the way, I love Supernatural Confrontations. It's really one of my favorite shows to do. It's kind of hard to pick what's my favorite, but what I love about it is it gives people a platform to come in and tell their story and share their story. And then we get people from Norway and Belgium and all points all over Europe and Australia, the UK. It just amazes me how we're moving along, and we're upwards of about 172,000 subscribers. We'll be back Monday with another Supernatural Confrontation. Hope to see you there. Hit the subscribe button. Thanks so much for your support. Keep our family in prayer. The attacks have been needless to say, pretty intense. Gee, I wonder why. The number 4 of that film is called Exposing the Dragon's Dark Secret. So let me see. Do you think the dragon's going to sit back and go, bravo, Le, bravo, well done, well, what do you think, Beelzebub? Yeah, 3 thumbs up, exactly. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to push back because he hates us. He comes to rob, kill, and destroy. But greater is he that is in us than the scumbag that's in the world. And that's why we lean on Jesus. Hand is on the plow, looking forward, not back, and very expectant because you have been faithful. The Lord promised us to save us from the time of trouble, which will come upon the whole earth. How do you deal with that one? Anyway, folks, thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. I am your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Remember, the supernatural world is real, and sometimes it manifests to people like you and me. Thanks so much for watching. Something very dark and disturbing is happening. It is a global phenomenon that knows no boundaries. It adheres to no cultural mores. And the ones who are engaged in this nefarious activity do so with impunity. People are being taken against their will. In the cover of darkness, in the dead of night, they are subjected to bizarre examinations that are often sexual in nature. These people are terrified, violated, confused, and with no place to turn to, as who would believe them? This is their story.